not only do I have an answer for you, but I'm following through on our bet.
Which is you didn't shave? Oh, wow.
The breakout star of the year are the Balds, Jeremy Allaire, Brian Armstrong, Mert,
Sure.
and Selkis on the policy front. Phenomenal job by the Balds, and I have followed through, and I have shaved my head, as you can see in this picture. All right, everyone. So on Empire, you obviously know that we talk a lot about the institutions coming into crypto. And that is why we are super excited to share that we are hosting the Digital Asset Summit. We've hosted this since 2019. It's coming up in London, March 18th to 20th. Don't miss your chance to get ahead of the curve. You can get 20% off with code EMPIRE20. We'll see you in London. What's up, man? We're back.
Oh, we're back.
We're live. I hit that record.
Oh, we're live. Oh, wow. Sneaky.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. It's been, my brain's firing on all cylinders. It's like, it's the holidays. I get it, but it's like, it is busy. It is, I'm excited about this pod too. I think predictions are always really hard, but I think it's really exciting time.
I'm excited too. Before we jump in, dude, I thought you were going to shave your beard.
I did, but we haven't recorded in 2 weeks, and you bailed on me. And look at this,
dude. Look at mine. All right, so look at my nasty ass beard. I was like, Santi's gonna shave his beard. One of us, we can't be a beardless podcast over here. So I was
yeah. You look at the stash is coming out,
dude. It's disgusting.
It's that face where it's disgusting.
Yeah, I got to shave it. You either have to power through the next few weeks or shave it, and we're going shave right after this. So,
well, I wasn't gonna I had a full week where I knew I was not gonna see anyone or do anything critical publicly. So I was like, all right, this is when I shave, and I hadn't shaved in literally 12 years. It was
little baby face Santi.
I probably lost 6 years. That was the consensus when people
you want to, okay, so here's my kind of vision for this app. There's I think we should do this in 2 parts. So we've got these questions breakout star of the year, best founder you met all year, breakout company, crypto product of the year, business of the year, worst investment of the year. That's kind of segment number 1. That's the first bucket. So we'll do that. Then we can take a quick breather, and then we can go into predictions for the year. I think we each have 5 to 10-ish predictions. We can bounce off each other's. I have not seen yours. You have not seen mine. So, does that sound good to you?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right, man.
I'm more excited about talking about how wrong I was on so many things, which is always good to keep us a bit grounded.
Oh, you want to review our 2023 predictions?
Well, we don't have to go through all of them, but I think I at least for me, the biggest miss was it was not on my bingo card that the markets would rally and perform the way that they have this year. The NASDAQ had its strongest start of the year. I was sitting there in March, and I'm or March or April, and the NASDAQ was having its strongest year-to-date performance. I'm you would have asked me that, I would have ascribed an incredibly low probability of that happening. You were coming into 2023 with this idea of rate hikes were there, inflation was still very much there. We're anyways, I was very much caught off guard, and it makes you wonder, right? Because you're entering 2024 with a lot. I think the consensus is risk on, right? That the Fed has finally tipped its hand at saying that it's going to lower rates, and so crypto markets react very quickly to that, right? And the same that they reacted very quickly in November of 2021, where there was intimation of inflation problem and rate hikes. The crypto markets took a beating before traditional markets, and so you wonder now, is the consensus now is risk on? How is 2024 going to shape up? Is it going to be the inverse of what happened in 2023, or is it just going to be a fantastic boom?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's on my head right now.
So looking back at our let's actually start there. That's interesting. Looking back at our 2023 predictions, I've got some of these pulled up. I actually think 6 years of making these predictions, these were the best predictions we've ever made, or that I've ever made personally. And I think it's probably easier to make predictions in a bear market, that makes me think, than in a bull market. In a bull market, humans are so bad about thinking exponentially that like things can get so far out ahead of what you were able to predict and what you're able to comprehend. In a bear market, these are actually pretty good. So let me walk you through some of these. So I said,
Mhm.
first one was talking about fat wallets. I said the growth of self-custody and fat wallets. MetaMask has never faced real competition. That's going to change this year. And I think that did change, right? Like things like Phantom and other, other wallets. I think probably Phantom's the main one, but other wallets did pretty well. Coinbase wallet has grown, I think, pretty substantially this year. So that was the first one. Second one was I said a tier one DeFi app builds its own chain, and I guess
DYDX?
you could say DYDX would be this one in my mind.
DYDX maker playing with that
Yeah,
idea. Look, I think this is going to continue to be a trend where every major DeFi protocol at some point was going
yeah.
to, and even an L2. Like, what's stopping Arbitrum from like doing its own L1?
Well, then that gets into the question: what's the real difference between L2 and L1, my friend? But all right, here
Yeah.
let me run you through a couple more of these. The kings of trading and NFTs lose market share. So this was a two-part. I said Uniswap's going to pass Coinbase in volume. That very much did not happen. But I said Uniswap is going to drastically fall. OpenSea is going to drastically fall in market share. And that has definitely happened, which is going to get into one of the in our next section, breakout companies of the year. I said punks flip apes. Remember those conversations? We were talking about apes all the time and punks.
I was very much of the mind that
Yeah.
there was no enduring value to Bored Apes and Punk's Wood. Both took a hit, but for a while there, I was pretty wrong. Like I think Bored Apes like took longer to come back to gravity and like Earth, and I think, but the flipping has very much happened. And
here's what I got wrong. I said NFT industry goes through major growth and changes like DeFi in 2019. We move past the JPEG era of NFTs. Did not happen. Still very much in the JPEG era.
Very much.
And I'm
I don't
happy
think it's going to go.
like
I don't think it's going to go
one.
away.
Solana survives. There you go. That one did not. I said Solana survives. ETH narrative is reinforced with the merge, ZK EVMs, and L2 adoption. Everybody loves L2s, but problems with L2 start to arise.
Yeah.
The last one I said was DAOs put leaders in place. Didn't really happen. You see like the Synthetics Council, but like that's not like a new thing necessarily, I think. So
no. Yeah. Trying to pull up mine.
I don't have yours, but
No. I'm trying. When was this? June, April?
This was January.
Yeah. No. I'm going through it.
I said Gary Gensler out as SEC chair. That was an optimistic prediction that did not happen. I said complete Bitcoin miner capitulation. I honestly have not followed the miners closely enough, but I think the miners
there happened. No, it's
capitulated, but now they're doing pretty well, I think. So
yeah, I mean it all follows the price to a large extent. Yeah. Very good.
All right, you want to get into this year's
2023
review? Let me hit you with the first question. 2023 crypto product of the year.
Solana. I'm calling that as a product because most people wrote it off, and I think it is a product in the whole conversation around integrated versus modular, and I think people are appreciating the components of Solana as a very unique architecture relative to other competing L1s, and I think most of crypto, whether it's because it's tired or doesn't do enough work, likes to bucket things in a very simplistic way through analogies or through comparisons, but I think as a product, I think Solana is very unique. There's no surprise. People might be looking at my public statements about Solana as something that has just come as of recent, but my history with Solana goes back years. Like I did that deal with Verify early on. I've been a hackathon judge. I've been knowing them for a long time, and I will say the things that changed for me was just going deeper and deeper and understanding more of the mechanics. There was a big aha moment that I faced that I had not too long ago, because it was really just going deeper into what are the biggest criticisms of this network, and then inverting and saying, can they be fixed? are they big enough? Are they real criticisms? And so, anyways, that to me was a big inflection point in my understanding of the network. So I think for me at least, I see it like every other blockchain L1. It is a product. I think Solana actually sees themselves as a product and understands what exactly they're trying to build and who they're trying to sell it to. And to me, that was a big realization because a lot of the criticisms around the higher hardware requirements, I think, require you to believe that it is a product and there is someone out there willing to pay for a higher hardware requirement. Because if you're building decentralized, synchronized global state that is competing against NASDAQ or NYSE, then yeah, someone will pay for that. It is hugely, hugely valuable for anyone who comes from finance and other places, right? So anyways, I think
All
that's
right, so
product of the year.
best product of the year, Solana. Mine was two-parter, Friendtech and Privy. So in my mind, Friendtech almost kicked off the bull market frenzy. Friendtech was the moment where it was like, okay, this market doesn't seem like it's back. Like now, I think you can very definitively say we are back in a bull market. Friendtech, if you look back, I think will be seen as like this kicked off that bull. Maybe it didn't kick off the bull market, but maybe this was the signal that we were back in a bull market. This frenzy of trading and buying and selling your friend. I know you didn't. I don't think you ever joined Friendtech, but I think Friendtech was the first time we were like, okay, decentral is it decentralized social? Is it consumer? Like that got a lot of people excited after this kind of 12-month lull. And the secondary product I would say there is the app I think that enabled it, which was Privy. So Privy brings this kind of like Web 2 caliber UX to crypto products. And I think people saw it for the first time with Friendtech. I'm not an investor or anything. I have no skin in the game here, but I think it's going to be a really powerful product to onboard this next caliber of folks. And we just started to see what was possible with Friendtech there. So that would be my product of the year in 2023.
Yep.
Which one are we going to next? How about best founder of the year?
What do you think?
I will say first off, I'm trying to not say the obvious ones. So the best founder in my mind, I think would be probably Brian Armstrong, but I'm trying to not pick on the Brian Armstrongs of the world and the Tollys and Solanas of the world. I would say I'm going to pick a weird one here, which is Luca Netz of Pudgies.
Oh, yeah. We had him on.
Yeah, if you look at what Pudgies have been able to actually accomplish, I think in the bear market, people wrote NFTs off as dead. People said there's no, anyone who tries to offer utility, that's a fool's game. They have grown. They have 10 billion views on Giphy, 1 million followers on Instagram. They launched in 2,000 Walmarts. They're topping the charts on Amazon. They're selling out collectibles. They went up to 10 ETH or 12 ETH. They launched the Lil Pudgy's cross-chain thing, and they launched they're launching their own game that seems to be basically almost built.
Yeah,
So
the preview seems amazing
with a very small amount of capital, mind you. So
certainly relative to Yuga.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Luca of Pudgies.
I like that. I'll pick the obvious, and people I think at this point are going to say like you've totally been sponsored by the Solana Foundation or whatnot, but totally for me, because that to me was instrumental in really, appreciating everything that he has done. And I've always liked him. Observing him through this difficult time, how he publicly behaves himself, how he is very grounded, very focused on the product and the end goal for Solana, delivering the best consumer experience. But also, my God, Solana hitting its lowest point, and then over this 12-month period, having this kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes, starts from the top. And I think the amount of leadership and like grit, integrity, like just commitment that it takes to turn it around. Of course, it was not just him, but I think speaking to so many of the different Solana-based projects that I'm an investor in, they all look up to him. It is highly influential.
Yeah.
And I think the same with that Vitalik wields a lot of power within the Ethereum community as, it totally is just, rose to the occasion and, is really like, steered the ship to where it is today. So it has to be him for me.
Yeah, totally. I think the job of an L1 founder is to basically inspire and set the vision and inspire other founders to come in and build. And Toli's done that better than anyone else. All right, breakout star of the year.
You go for it. I'm cheating. I'm always
not only do I have an answer for you, but I'm following through on our bet.
Which is you didn't shave? Oh, wow.
The breakout star of the year are the Balds. Jeremy Allaire, Brian Armstrong, Mert,
sure.
and Selkis on the policy front. Phenomenal job by the Balds, and I have followed through, and I have shaved my head, as you can see in this picture.
Oh, God, you're cheating. Breakout Stars, is that like a does it have to be a single person, or can it be I guess for you, is this
We're the Balds.
Yeah. I think Coinbase, for me, I would agree there. Like it continues to be even more so now the most important company. You know, crypto's always had this regulatory wall of worry. The the crackdown intensified, and look, some of it is difficult because there is a lot of, there is stuff that needs to be cracked down on, but a policy like that, like I guess like it required someone to push back, right, and say, hey, listen, like what they've done in fighting against and staking their ground, I think has been really instrumental for the industry. And I've always had faith in the court systems, but like actually seeing it, I think they're still fighting, right? And to me, it requires a well-resourced, capitalized company. Not only that, but they launched Base, and I think they're very much focused on like being that onboarding safe experience for so many people. And I'm really excited about that. I think Base, as we think about like huge catalysts, Base is going to be one from an onboarding perspective. And so it is actually really impressive when you think about like innovator's dilemma, a company that is willing to reinvent itself for the greater good of an industry. And I just think it's going to be a case study, not just within crypto, but just in general, a company that was very much focused on making sure that this industry succeeds, even if it comes at the expense of certain revenue lines.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Circle's in that same boat, right? Circle, remember when Circle owned Poloniex? They had one of the biggest OTC desks in crypto. They had the retail app. In 2017, I was buying more crypto through Circle's mobile app than I was through Coinbase. They were one of Coinbase's biggest competitors, and Jeremy basically shut that all down just to go all in on USDC. And I have a feeling, Circle ends up IPOing. I don't know if it's 2024 or 2025, but that seems like a company well on its way to a successful.
No, I mean, Jeremy, they've also done a lot of regulatory kind of lobbying work since as far as I can remember. But like Jeremy's like a highly successful founder before crypto.
Yeah,
the guy didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
And he's choosing to do hard things because they matter. And I think that's very impressive.
All right, the bald cap's got to come off. That was my bald breakout stars of the year with the balds.
There we go.
All right, man. Breakout company of the year. I'm going to give this to two companies in Solana. One is Tensor and one is Jito. So if you look at, the success of, we'll start with Tensor. Tensor, if you look at the metrics, started the year with, there were kind of 4 Solana NFT exchanges. There was Magic Eden, had about, I think it was about 80% of the market share. There was HadeSwap and Coral Cube and Tensor, if I remember correctly. And it was basically Magic Eden at 80%, the other 2 at 5%. Tensor had maybe 2%, I want to say, at the beginning of the year. They have overtaken Magic Eden and have just come to basically dominate. Not only, I think the first thing was dominating the Solana NFT ecosystem. And now, they're in the conversation when you bring up, it's, OpenSea, Blur, Tensor, like they're in the conversation. And I love the two founders. Like they epitomize like young, scrappy hustlers, keep it very lean. We had one of them we had actually both them on Empire, and like they refused to get a new headphones because they're like, we're not out of the, they refused to buy newer headphones. And they're like $100 to get new headphones. And I don't know, I just respect that level of scrappiness. It reminds me a lot of Blockworks in the early days of Blockworks. So yeah, Tensor would be one of the breakout companies of the year. The other would be Jito. Lucas and the Jito team are just like, they are at the backbone of how all transactions happen in Solana. They are like about as close to the metal as you can get in Solana. And not only that, I think they had a very important like emotional moment almost for Solana ecosystem with their airdrop. So many people made so much money. They basically were able to pull forward and increase the acceleration of the Solana ecosystem, both with from a capital perspective, and I think they were this like beacon of hope for a lot of other Solana founders, saying, "Oh my God, we can do this too. Whether you're Tensor, whether you're Jupiter, we can launch a token. It can be successful. We can do this, even with a young, small, scrappy team." And I think so. Yeah, I would give it to both Tensor and Jito here.
Well, I mean, I did have the Tensor guys. I interviewed them a couple of weeks ago. Incredible story. People should go listen to that episode. I would agree with that. At risk of not being called too biased in Solana, I'll throw out a few candidates. One is, I think, thematically, this modular movement is incredibly impactful. I think every technological revolution goes through this unbundling and rebundling phase, and the ability to kind of that unlock. I think Celestia was instrumental in that. There's others, of course, but I would think I very much believe modularity is a very important theme, to give more flexibility into how you kind of dissect the different pieces of what a blockchain does: execution, data availability, consensus, and settlement. And I think that is very much a big unlock, and thematically will continue to be a really strong trend. So probably that. The other one is Bonk. When you think about how that has been instrumental for its like rallying, really. I mean, it was so impactful for developers that received this airdrop, that were in this developer DAO of Solana. It was probably what kept them alive. It is the most integrated coin in Solana, and people can laugh off memes, but I think the more you live and breathe crypto, the more you appreciate that. So, Breakout, whether you agree then or not, I don't really care. I think I'm thinking about impact, like the impact as I think about breakthrough. That's what I care about. And I think it is, we can argue all you want about memes and how serious they are or not, but I don't think you can win the argument of saying that Bonk didn't have an impact on Solana and taking it to where it is now, like rallying it. Yeah. So I'd be remiss not to mention that. I was going to say another, again, Jupiter for me was, I think, a breakout company. Why? Because no surprise, I live and breathe DeFi. I've been interacting with it since the early days. I got to say, the product is phenomenal. It is a delight. And I think the more you talk about, like when you onboard people, every time you go to these holiday events, which are like painful, right? Oh, you're in crypto. Okay. Well, tell me a crypto company that is actually fun and easy to use. It's always like, it has been a very difficult question to actually like answer.
Is that how most people talk?
Yes. It's like, Cairns of the world, like it's like, it looks, some of it is right. Jupiter provides a very delightful experience. Like the like being able to DCA, like setting limits, and it's just a delight.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, look, whether you want to accept it or not, the biggest kind of use case now is swap. Like DeFi is like the ability to swap and trade, and it is the primary kind of use of blockchains right now, and collecting. But there's still, like, Tensor is very much like a financial product, right?
Yeah.
So Jupiter just has made that delightful. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And it really makes you appreciate when you have the ability to do things in a very low cost manner. It unlocks nonlinear consumer demand. Like, it's just like, I'm going to swap a lot of these things. Like, the frequency just goes up orders of magnitude. So I think they built a phenomenal product. I really enjoyed it. And, it's not an endorsement, but it is one of those where, think about it, put it this way. When you think about breakout companies or just things that you really like, is what are going to be those 2 or 3 companies, apps that you point to normies to use? Probably Tensor, probably Jupiter.
Yeah, right? I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I tweeted out, early November, I think it was. just how impressed I was by Jupiter. And that was kind of like one of the wake up, like aha moments I had.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
all right, I got some more personal questions. We haven't talked about these. I'm not sure if you're open to answering or what you're not, but best, yeah, exactly. Put it on, put the put the shield on. Best personal investment of the year.
I sized up Solana aggressively. I called it out in this pod at 8, and I was very much just you could do it in size. So of course I'm biased,
I
but
don't even think Solana hit 8. I thought it bottomed at like 12.
no, it was like close to 8, I think, and it was around that time I publicly said in this pod, and it was like, so. But I do a lot of private investments, so maybe I'll highlight things that I'm excited about. There's so many. The problem is, any answer I give, I'm gonna get shit for like for some of the others. But I've been paying more attention into public stuff. I think I recently did a deal that I tweeted about. Like, I didn't specifically mention this company, but let's put it this way: I'll give a cop-out answer, but like, think about all the companies that raised a lot of money before the end of the last cycle. You talk to them, they're like, "Are you getting any love from your investors?" No, none of them have talked to us. They've continued to build through the bear. They're building useful, interesting products in categories that get a lot of attention. But for whatever reason, the companies, and I've met a few, are just not getting any love. And it reminds me so much of last cycle, where I met like the OG DeFi people, right? Synthetics had raised a huge ICO through Haven, rebranded. No one was paying attention. Lend, no one was paying attention. But when you see founders that it has been difficult 12 months, continue to build, continue to ship, to me, it's like, would I rather invest in a private deal, venture deal, where the founder is probably opportunistic? You're going to continue to see, from now on forward, you're going to see so many new people come to this space that want to raise for AI, for whatever use case, right? Do you understand if that team is going to build through difficult times? Probably not. But what I like about these companies that have shipped and maybe have a token is they haven't given up and they're well resourced. Like, that's the kind of founder, and you have that. Like, it's meaningfully de-risked. So yeah, this company in particular, like, is building really interesting products in the Cosmos ecosystem and implementing IBC, which I think is very underrated. It's probably one of the most underrated, underappreciated pieces of tech, but I think it's going to be hugely impactful in multi-chain world. So I'm really excited to see that. And yeah, I won't name, I mean, I can name the company, but yeah, I recently did that deal, and I'm working with the team very closely.
Who is it? Can you name it?
Picasso. It's a composable finance team.
Yeah, that's funny, man. It's funny watching you get all there's a lot of shit being thrown around Twitter right now. Like, you don't share the investment. Like, people are like, oh, you're hiding something. Share it. People are like,
you're showing your bags.
You're showing your bags. There's no way to win here.
It really is difficult because I come from a world of like, I don't like, look, none of it is financial advice. Not, and people in crypto are very, and just generally, like, I just don't feel necessarily comfortable because you have 2 minutes to describe something. But yeah, like, it always is kind of uneasy.
All right, everyone. So we talk a lot about the institutions coming into crypto on Empire. Santi and I are both headed out to London March 18th to 20th for Blockworks' 8th ever Digital Asset Summit, DAS. This is an institutional buttoned-up conference that we've hosted since 2019. I like to joke that it is probably the last remaining kind of suit and tie event in crypto. People are still wearing suit and tie. It's pretty funny, but you'll actually hear from a lot of the largest institutions in the world, coming from Standard Charter, FIS, JP Morgan, Framework folks coming out, Wintermute, Van Eck, Goldman Sachs. There are a couple big themes of this conference. 1, Bitcoin catalysts, the halving and the spot ETF. 2, a view from the buy side. 3, RWA's tokenization and stablecoins. 4, 4, global regulatory frameworks. 5, institutional infrastructure, including banking and payments. And 6, the macro case for crypto. If you have anything to do with the institutional side of crypto, you have to be there. Santi and I got your back. We hooked you up with a 20% off code. It is Empire20. There is a little competition running internally at Blockworks to see who can drive the most number of tickets. So help Santi and I out. Register with our code and you get 20% off. That is Empire20.
All right. So what about all right, so that's the best. What about the worst investment of the year?
Real estate.
Real estate.
100%. It's a fucking scam industry. The friction costs of coming in and out. I would argue you rarely, like, okay, so you can do it with leverage and all this stuff, but like, man, was I constantly reminded of why we do crypto, because I have this very little patience for when I see friction, when there's redundancy. Like when I go to a doctor and they ask you to fill out a form again, or like real estate, like it is a scam industry. There's all these people that extract fees for no good reason. And it was just, it's a scam, really. They, of course, there was a major lawsuit this year of all the realtors that were like extracting so many fees. Like it's one of those industries. Coincidentally, when I was looking at traditional enterprise software investing, like there's this company, RealPage, and they were trying to like shake up and modernize the real estate industry, but it is politics. It's messy, like zoning and development, and it is like, yeah, it's one of those industries where it's slowly, like finance, resisted the modernization thing, and a lot of it is because it's heavily regulated. And I'm just a big believer in deregulation and let markets settle. Anyways, it was a very bad experience because
So were you investing alongside developers? Were you investing in real estate
oh, no,
funds? Were you doing
personally,
multifamily?
I've done sponsor deals for a long time, but no, personally, like I bought property, and like it's just
And
unclear to me that you
were,
actually
were these like multifamily? Like what types of
single family, like
family?
single family. Yeah, no, it's a very extractive industry. I don't think you outperform. There's a whole host of ongoing fixed costs. I don't think it's a very viable business model, candidly. Not just because of high rate environment. I just think like it became more and more popular in a low interest rate environment. You're basically doing a carry trade, right? Where you're borrowing very cheap and then you kind of like, you're renting it out or whatever. But it's probably my worst investment. Like not just this year, it's just in general, because not because I lost money, because of the opportunity cost and the
And the
time that I
time and
sunk in.
mental anguish.
It's really
Yeah.
when I think about, as I was going through this exercise, there have been companies in crypto that I've lost more money on, but the time for me is the most expensive thing, and I invested a lot of time, even though it was just draining. I will probably not ever do it again.
Hmm. Will you still stay allocated to real estate funds?
No, no, I love crypto, and I'm just constantly reminded that this is my edge and this is where I want to play. And
Yeah.
I'm very willing to stomach volatility. I think there's ways to go around that and hedge, but I'm just gonna. I'm. By the way, I put in way more risk. I took money outside of real estate, put it way back more into crypto, and I'm very comfortable with that.
Yeah.
This is where I play. That's what I like, and that's what I'm. I'm not gonna pretend to do anything else.
Yeah. All right, my worst investment of the year, personal investment was I have a worst angel investment. I mean on the angel side, a lot of angel deals shut down mid this year. Some of the really
Yeah.
early stage ones shut down, or a couple pivoted to AI. In the middle of the AI hype cycle, like pivoted to AI. I
Yeah.
was like, all right. But a couple of them, shut down. A couple of them returned, 20 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar. So that was on the angel side. It was actually pretty remarkable to see the variance in how different founders handled it. Some handled it very professionally. I have no hard feelings against someone who returns capital. Like that is a very courageous thing to do in my mind. And some
More people should do it, by the way.
yeah, and I like to the people who returned capital, I was like, I will back you hands down next time you do it. Like just because of how respectful and over communicative they were. And then there were some folks who basically just ghosted. I was like, I know you shut down, but like, come on, buddy.
I'm still tracking down like 3 companies that I'm like, guys, I know you're closing down. Like, where's the capital? I
Yeah.
don't care if it's 2 cents. I don't care if it's 99 cents. It's out of principle. Just do it.
Yeah. Worst personal investments of the year were probably the DeFi majors. I bought some Uni, some Lido earlier this year, and they just haven't done anything. So just a fool's trade at this point. Yeah.
Well, you know what could be a fool's trade one year, it could be a fantastic trade the next. So
Yeah. So, all right. Most. What do you want to do? Most exciting founder that you met? Sector that you're most.
let's do sector to watch in crypto.
Cool. Sector to watch. What do you got?
2. One of them probably is alt L1s. And I know it's tiring, but like it's I think it's going to be important to like pay attention to different designs. Um, this is Aptos, Sui, Say, also Solana. Like I think, yeah, I think the tricky part of that is that every cycle there's a bit of fatigue. I think people constantly dismiss them. Um, I would encourage people to go listen to Jordan, was the Frictionless Capital, Logan, the Frictionless Capital guys. I think they have very, very good content and also appreciation for these call it next gen L1s. My thesis, and I tweeted about this not too long ago, is that this cycle will see a growing divide of the haves and the have-nots in terms of where you start seeing usage at scale. And you're certainly seeing it in Solana, but I think it doesn't stop there. And so the question to me is, that's the most important thing. Of course, if you don't compromise security, and of course there's less Lindy in some of these networks, but I think this cycle will be one, as I fast forward like 2-3 years, it will be a time where finally we start seeing more scale and more mainstream adoption across varying degrees of use cases, not just collecting, not just NFTs and financialization of such, but more so just real use cases and more users coming on. And I think that alone will shake up the composition of mindshare. And look, I don't want to say this in terms of like, I'm not being dismissive of Ethereum. I think I stand to lose a lot if Ethereum doesn't do well. But I think it's something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
But I think it's you could be lazy about it, and I think most people are being lazy about it. And the other one is probably Deepin.
I also had Deepin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Deepin it's pretty exciting. It's a lot of things. I mean, it's been around for such a long time. Filecoin, Live Peer, like these things existed for such a long time. What is different now, perhaps, is you start to see other kind of more exciting things as well, like related to AI, like decentralized compute, the renders and the Akashas of the world and the tensors or whatever. But it also is like Helium and Hive Mapper and all these things. Like crypto, I think, is very interesting from to solve coordination problems. And when you solve coordination problems, it allows you to revisit certain business models. Like I remember passing on Helium the first round. The multi-coin guy shared it with me, and I said, "No, this has been tried before in Web 2." And boy, was I wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that some of these ideas that have been tried in the past are worth revisiting and can actually work with incentives. And it can fix the inertia to bootstrap networks. And I think we're in this state where people are being very critical of incentives, that they're not sustainable, because most teams don't get them right. But incentives are instrumental to anything, not just in crypto. And I think crypto, that's the glue of tokens are the glue to help and coordinate more efficiently. And Deepin is kind of prime for that. So I think it's a really exciting sector.
Yeah. So I put 2 sectors. I said restaking, which I can talk more about in the predictions part of this episode, and then Deepin. So I said Deepin kind of breaks down into two buckets, right? There's like physical infrastructure and digital infrastructure. So the digital is kind of what has been around for a little while, like file storage and decentralized VPNs, general purpose stuff, machine learning, Akash, things like that. And then there's the physical infrastructure side, which Helium was the kind of first mover here. Then there's Hive Mapper, but there's 5G, IoT, Wi-Fi. There's some cool geospatial stuff going on. So yeah, both the physical infra and the digital infra side of Deepin, I would say. We can get into it. It's my first prediction is like this kind of ETH is money idea and this ETH is money narrative is going to start to go away as people realize the best thing right now that ETH has is yield. And like that's what's gonna come back. However,
Are you worried about security? Rehypothecation of security?
Okay, yeah. So I mean, actually, hold on. Before we get into this, like, I wanna kind of cut this episode in two. I want to do the
Slow.
Santi, slow. So all right, we're gonna do restaking in a sec. I promise you guys we will get into that.
Okay.
But we're gonna end this episode with the most overhyped sector of 2024. Then we will cut it, and in the next episode we are doing our predictions for 2024. So I will ask you most overhyped sector of 2024. What do you think?
Coming into this, great question. I don't know.
I will throw one at you, which is RWAs. I think RWAs was a total bear market narrative.
Wait, but you said 2024. I thought you wanted most overhyped of 2023. Like coming into 2023 and
like what is the most overhyped thing right now? And I think it's
right now.
I think it's RWAs. I think that RWAs are they're great. Like I love the centrifuge guys and got dinner with Leshner the other night and was talking about Superstate, which I think is really cool what he's working on. But I just think RWAs are like such a boring bear market thing that kind of like everyone talks about in the bear market, and then in the bull market, not many people are going to pay attention to it. So,
yeah, I'm going to pick AI. Mind you, I think the things that are most hyped also have the most amount of opportunity, but it is understanding and dissecting the real versus the non-real. I think there's an incredible amount of hype in AI right now. Bitenter, Akash, like all these, and a lot of, like I've seen like 30 decks in the last 2 weeks of like the same type of business model in AI. Is it real? I think it is. I just recorded a podcast with Daniel from Modulus, which I backed, and Casey, who like studied AI before it was cool and, is a fantastic investor. And she really has a good eye for what is real and what is not. So I won't like go too much into it, but people should go listen to that episode because I wanted to record that to really like parse through what is real, what are the products. And it's just in general AI. I mean, it's of course incredibly fascinating. The thing about technological revolutions, I think, is the timing of it, right? We tend to what is it? The fantastic quote from Bill Gates, we overestimate what we can do in 2 years, underestimate what we can do in 10. I think that has been true for crypto, and I think that will be true for AI, where everyone's spending all their basically all the venture funding has gone into putting in orders, CapEx for NVIDIA, H100s. But a lot of the pitch decks that you see in crypto around getting access to GPUs on the fly is a bit overdone, I think. Yeah. Like certainly have no rhyme or reason to understand how these things trade.
Yeah. All right, folks. That wraps up part one of the.
Was that part one?
That was part one. I hope you came prepared with your part two.
Yes.
All right, good. Yes. All right, folks. We will we'll see you in a couple days. We'll be back. See you on the other side.
Are we going to be back with your shaved head for real? And I'm willing I'm willing to shave my beard, all of it. God, this is like I'm trying to think of all the crypto companies that like pretend to do something but are not really under the hood. Like 99% of crypto companies.
DeFi mullet, baby.
All right. Maybe I'll shave my beard for the
I gotta shave.
Episode. Although to be fair, I want to look wiser for these predictions. Of course, which they won't because I'm terribly wrong in all of it.
I will look much better for episode number 2. I promise you that. All right,
Okay.
folks. Hope you all are having a happy holiday and good Christmas if you celebrate, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Really hope you enjoyed it. We wanted to take a second to just remind you about our upcoming Digital Asset Summit in London, March 18th to 20th. Santi and I got your back. Seats are limited, and we hooked you up with a 20% off discount code. It is Empire20. If you heard it earlier in the podcast, there's a little competition running at Blockworks to see who can drive the most number of tickets. So when you register for the Digital Asset Summit, make sure you use our code Empire20. See you in London.